Paris is a famous city which owns many historical sports and interesting places, such as the Eiffel Tower, the Triumphal Arch, attracting tourists all over the world. The Seine River, dotted by parks, green spaces on both sides, boasts of many beautiful menus and natural sceneries. A liquid gold with a charming color, mysterious emotion, and a soft mellow smile follows in the vein of Paris, the world's most romantic capital. Today we are going to visit the Wine Museum of Paris near the Eiffel Tower on the right bank of Seine River. The museum, in the 16th arrondissement in Paris, was opened in 1984. Used to be a medieval wine cellar, the small museum tells us the history of French wine industry, with these Romanesque artifacts, antique tools, wine bottles, corkscrews, glasses, and vignettes.
Welcome to the Wine Museum in Paris. Our wine museum is situated in center of Paris, close to the Eiffel Tower. And our museum exists from 30 years in the center of Paris. Street of Water, the wine museum in the Street of Water. So our museum and expositions are situated in the ancient galleries which served as the extraction of stones to construct the building in Paris.
Today, Amitat Kabisov, who has worked in the museum for years, will take us to visit a variety of instruments for planting, transporting, pressing, and brewing of wine growing.
Here you see the instruments to walk the earth, to walk in the vineyards. The interesting fact is that the viticulture, also working in the vineyard, was not changed over the last 5,000 years till the invention of mechanization. You have in every part of the world, in Europe or in Asia, you have the same instruments and same procedures to work in the vineyards.
During the growing period of grapes, spades and scissors are very useful. Farmers use them to remove buds, cleaning, pruning, and cutting unnecessary branches from the vines in different seasons. When grapes are picked, it's time to transport them to factories for brewing.
So here you see a recipient in wood which served to put the grapes and to transport them in the vineyards to press. Here you have an old pressoir. They put the grapes, the ripe mature grapes, and they turned just for the first pressing. You know, these first pressings were done every time by the feet of people, like this. This operation were done a whole 1,000 years by feet like this.
It takes years of storage for the birth of a bottle of high-quality wine. The best container for storing the wine is the oak barrel, which helps greatly in the taste of wine.
We see how the oak barrels produced. I've told that the oak barrels were invented by the Gauls, ancestors of French. It's very important to produce good wine, to ripen, to mature the wine in the oak barrel. So when the wine is put in the barrel, there are exchange between atmosphere, wood and the wine. So the wine develops its bucket, which is called bucket, interesting and complex aromas in the oak barrel. And all the famous wine producers in France produce the oak barrels, and the procedure is made everything by hand. And so the oak barrel gives a lot of interesting aromas to the wine. The fruity aromas of the wine are interchanging with the woody aromas, vanilla, toasted bread, and cocoa, tobacco, and so have really complex, interesting aromas in the wine.
According to archaeologists, wine was originally stored in large potteries known as amphora. When the Romans developed glass blowing, glass was soon found to be a good medium for storing wine.
So here you have an ancient amphora in terracotta. It's from Roman epoch, which served to stock and transport the wine. It dates 2000 years ago. The wine is put in the bottles around 150-200 years ago. The wines normally were stocked and transported in oak barrels and in barrels of different wood. To produce the bottle is a highly complex and difficult process. So, with the industrialization, they started to produce the bottle really strong glass to transport and to stock the wine. The invention of the bottle enables to age the wine for a long period in the bottle, because the glass is neutral in taste, so it gives no aromas to the wine. So after the wine has aged in the oak barrels, about 2 or more years, the wine is put in the bottle. And in the bottle they can develop more interesting and complex aromas without taking more woody aromas from oak barrels. So the glass is neutral and enables the wine to age and to develop interesting aromas in the bottle.
There are many classification methods of wines. According to percentage of carbon dioxide, the wine can be divided into still wine and sparkling wine. Red wines and white are still wine, while champagne is kind of sparkling wine. So let's have a look at how to make a champagne.
Champagne is a very famous sparkling wine in all over the world. It's wine of party, wine to celebrate the anniversary, wine really to celebrate an event. So it's a very famous sparkling wine. You know how to make this sparkling wine. Champagne, you know, is a white wine. But the interesting point, this white wine is made from red wine grapes. The red wine grapes pressed and the skins are immediately separated. So the juice is white. So the juice ferments, the yeast eat the sugar which is in the must, and so the wine is made. The normal white wine is made. Then they put this white wine in the bottle and they add the sugar and the yeast, and the bottle is closed. So the yeast starts to eat sugar, and they produce also carbon dioxide gas, which cannot escape from the bottle because the bottle is closed. After the dead yeasts are in the bottle, so it's not nice, and they must take out the dead yeasts from the bottle. So the bottle is put like in the tables like this, yes, in this position, and every day one worker turns the bottle 1/4 or 1/8 of its turn. Every day, and after 2 months the bottle is in horizontal position and all the dead yeasts are concentrated here in the neck of the bottles. So they proceed to open the bottle to expulse these dead yeasts, and they add a little bit wine and sugar, and they close the bottle with a cork, and so the wine, this bottle of champagne, rests at least 15 months for the ripening in the cave.
Cognac is a typical still wine, named after the town of Cognac in France. It is one of the most famous brandies, produced in departments of Charente and Charente-Maritime in France. The manufacturing process of cognac is over 400 years old.
We have here the real alembic to distill the cognac. You know, cognac is distilled 2 times. The first distillation gives a liquid which has 40 degrees. The second distillation gives liquid which has 80 degrees. So then the liquid is put into the oak barrels. Region of cognac, in every small cave, you have a really small part of the cave which is called paradise, where stocked the cognac from 17th and 18th century. And you know, from the oak barrels the alcohol evaporizes and it calls the part of the angels. And in whole region of cognac, every year 20 millions of bottles evaporize.
Wandering in the winding passages, visitors could learn a lot about the history, the viticulture, and the winemaking process of French wines. Besides the ancient tools, the most impressive exhibitions are the vivid waxwork figures, which molded all those famous persons who had made significant contributions to the development of wine industry.
You know Louis Pasteur? Pasteurization, pasteurized milk, pasteurized juice. So he was a scientist who studied bacteria in the wine. So he discovered that they were the bacteria, the yeast, which convert the sugar into alcohol.
Pasteur discovered the reason why wine would go sour. He found out two different yeasts in the good and the sour alcohol and demonstrated that mild heating applied after fermentation could kill microorganisms and prevent souring. This gentle heating has come to be known as pasteurization. For the 1855 World's Fair, Napoleon III requested a classification system for the Bordeaux wines, which were to be on display. The World's Fair was a chance for France to display its very best for the world to see. The Bordeaux Wine Brokers Union went to work on the project, and it came up with what we now refer to as the classification of 1855.
This scenery evokes the classification of Bordeaux growths in 1855. This was the first so-called official classification ever made in France between the different wines. So if you know the most famous chateaus like Chateau Mouton Rothschild, Chateau Margaux, they're the first growths which were classified by this classification. This was made for the Universal Exposition in Paris to present the French wines to international public. You know, the Bordeaux region is the second largest vineyard in the world and produces 1 billion bottles per year. And you have 57 different appellations, so-called registered place of geographical origin, appellation d'origine contrôlée, which produce really different styles of wine. Here is an échanson. It's a very old profession in France. Today it's a sommelier which tasted the wine in restaurant just to know if the wine is good or not. And the échanson in Middle Ages tasted the wine just to detect the poison in the wine. And after he served the wine to king and the queen. And so this profession was called échanson. Today it's sommelier, and there's a costume, traditional costume of an échanson.
Today, sommelier means a professional who's capable of giving valuable advice to customers in the restaurant. He must make himself instantly recognizable in the dining room, which is the reason for careful choice of clothes: black trousers, shoes and socks, white shirt, black waistcoat and a bow tie, green swallowtail jacket or red one. The Paris Wine Museum assumes itself the mission to show rich and varied cultural heritage on grape cultivation, wine brewing and storage. Rich collections here provide visitors lots of knowledge on wine culture and represent a lively vision of wine growing from past to future. A fantastic yet cozy wine bar is in the cellar beside the exhibition area. Visitors could come here and have a glass of wonderful wine. Like a well-known saying, good wine gladdens a person's heart. There's no better ending than a cup of wine for a trip through the wine history.